Hi everyone, Tom was here, and welcome to the TomWasHere Halloween Haunt channel. We have another haunted house review for you. We went out on Friday the 13th to Cheeseman's Fright farm. This was a new one for us. I have only heard of Cheeseman's by reputation. I've always heard good things about Cheeseman's. I had reached out to them and they were kind enough, Jen and the cast and crew at Cheeseman's were kind enough to have us out to check it out and see what it's all about. Now we went to another haunt first, and then we went to Cheeseman's. Cheeseman's is a pretty significant, dash outside of the Pittsburgh area, depending on, where you are in the Pittsburgh area. Took us about a little under an hour to get there to Portersville. It's, heading out towards like Grove City way, past Cranberry. But yeah, like in between them both, like around the Evans City, Ford City type, kind of around that area. But having never been there, it's on a desolate stretch of road, off kind of a main drag. And, as you assume a farm would be. And it was hopping that night on Friday the 13th. The line was, they have a big main building, and the line was actually like circled around and started like snaking around the other way. So pretty busy at Cheeseman's that evening. Tickets for Cheeseman's are $25. That is on brand with most of the other haunts in the area. Kind of varies from 20 to 25, 30, 35, kind of all those different prices in between depending on where you're going. But yeah, $25 for that. And went into the main building first, and the main building has a lot of different like pumpkins they're selling. There's a few pumpkin photo ops. They have some shirts from years past. Cheeseman's been doing this for quite a while. The earliest one I saw was 2005. My guess is they did it a few years prior to that before they decided, oh, we can make shirts. So they did it probably earlier than that. I didn't see how long they did because especially when it comes to new haunts, I don't want to look into like the origin of, I don't want to find out any like backstory or, anything to be prepared for. But with Cheeseman's case, people have, told me about Cheeseman's and basically said that it is dark, very dark. And, it's tough to navigate. Like it's disorienting in a way. And they're not wrong in regards to Cheeseman's. So, but yeah, just looking through that main barn area, they had some popcorn. Down the thing was like a snack bar with some walking tacos, hot dogs, stuff like that. And then they had a wood-fired pizza place, some french fries. They had some funnel cakes that smelled amazing. I'm trying to eat something at all these places to add that as part of the review. Did not get to eat anything at Cheeseman's, unfortunately, but some of the stuff smelled really good. The prices seemed fairly reasonable. There's quite a few people that were, and like I said, I was right there when they pulled a funnel cake out, and it was amazing. It smelled awesome. I regret not getting one. They also had some bunnies in that main area. They were very large, like radioactive type bunnies. And I'm not knocking them at the radioactive. There's giant bunnies. Probably the biggest bunnies I've ever seen. The one had like real big, like mutton chops type thing. Like it was a significantly sized bunny. But it was cool to, see that out. It's interesting to see every haunt's kind of unique approach. Obviously, ones that are farms kind of sometimes lean into the fact that they're farms by selling pumpkins, by, having all types of different farm things that they can, including bunnies and stuff like that. So it was cool to see Cheeseman's kind of, really, obviously closer to more the farm approach. And their big main building's really nice. They definitely put some work into that, which was really, really cool. So on to the haunt portion. You start out on a hayride. And because it was a busy night, they kind of loaded me up I ended up getting a back seat into that pretty full hayride that they put us through. And the hayride is definitely mostly a hayride. They do have a couple of scare things on there. One is a station where they go into where there's a strobe light. Big on the strobe lights at Cheeseman's. There's a lot of strobe lights at Cheeseman's. And then this one, the idea is that this dude comes into the cart with a chainsaw and gets very, very close to everyone. I mean, he's like chainsawing like by their heads and stuff like that. So, and with the strobe light, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, how close he is getting to you. But I thought that was fun and interesting. But my favorite part of Cheeseman's, of the entire thing, was when you're on the hayride. They had this other, like, I don't know if it was another tractor or not necessarily a tractor. It was definitely more like a truck type thing. But it comes up barreling up on you, and it puts its lights on, and it comes like go real close to the back of the cart, so close. And it's not something where, like, it's going and then it has these like fire pinions that just and shoot flames, and then when the flames shoot out, you can see that the person driving it has like a Jason mask on, and so the whole thing has like a nice like horror movie effect that I dug. Like I really enjoyed that part of it because it came so close at times, and it was just that slight immersion factor of like, ooh, this is like, like it's a certain things where somebody's chasing you in a movie, and they get that close where you see like the truck and it's getting closer and closer, and the anticipation that it's going to hit. What I'm curious about is, has it ever hit one time? Because man, did they get close, and kudos to them for doing that. They get real close. But no, it was an awesome, cool effect. Beyond that, it was a mostly hayride. There wasn't too much as far as until you got to the main portion. Now, when you get to the main portion, they let you off, and my son was ahead, and he was walking like pretty fast, there. At least I determined it was pretty fast. It was hard to tell from kind of like the strobe light effect, me looking at the camera, me trying to navigate my own feet. And I had a sterling reputation, of not falling at a haunted house yet. That almost came crashing down several times at Cheeseman's, because there's definitely portions that are very disorienting. A lot of strobe light effects, a lot of darkness, a lot of lower light things that were hard to navigate, and I could have easily got broke. I would assume I'm not the only one there. I want to know. How about this? Here's a comment. Have you ever fallen at Cheeseman's? My guess is some of you have, I would assume. But they had, this was definitely, at least this portion of it, beyond a couple different things. Like they have the swamp portion that I've seen at some haunts, which was pretty cool. And the way it was set up was to good effect. But it was definitely more of an old school style feel, the walkthrough portion. Like they had things where you'd walk into this like area and it was like pitch black, and you had to navigate through, and like you're bumping into people are bumping into you. There's a lot of anarchy trying to figure out a way to get out because it doesn't really show you the direct way. So there's a lot of like, they had a couple things where like the room was like early on when you get off the thing that the room was like teeter-tottered a bit. So like a couple, things where like it turned a certain way. And yeah, there were some things that they definitely played to that effect. There were some corn stalks. There was like a maze portion, where I know someone got lost and they ended up behind us. There's definitely a lot of things to disorient you, a lot of things to, to change your direction and make you, realize that. And then they had actors kind of hidden away at various points to jump out and scare you. There wasn't anybody that was particularly like, long like dialogue or something like that. There was someone that was in a Jason mask that rode with the hayride the whole time and was kind of messing with people along the way. But no one that was doing like a real long, like this long speech or this, anything more than like a jump scare. There was a clown outside of the one portion that was really dark that was saying a lot of stuff about how they were losing people in the dark portion and hopefully you make it out. She was probably the one that spoke the longest. But yeah, every other character was kind of there just to like a quick boo. Yeah, a couple times they would have someone or, something like jump out of an unexpected place. But it was definitely more of an old school style portion. And even the hayride portion, like everything had kind of a more old school style feel. You wonder like what changes they go into making like year after year. As this was my first time here, I honestly don't know. People were having a blast though, going through there, definitely getting scared at certain points. I didn't get a ton of the scares because there were some younger kids or whatever ahead of us, which is fine. It's not something I generally enjoy watching people get scared versus getting scared myself. Not that I have any aversion to that. It's just, it's just funny to me. And, I giggle my way through haunted houses and stuff like that. For me, it was just, I was more focused on trying not to fall. Get a clown portion. I think every haunted house has to have a clown portion. It's required by law in the state of Pennsylvania to have a clown portion of some type. I'm kidding. I don't know. Not everyone has a clown portion, but there's a lot of clowns out there. And I do feel that they did, a pretty good job trying to. They did a pretty good job with the the elements and spacing and the different unique environments there. Then when you went through the entire thing at the end, they had a portion that I thought was like a haunted house portion. It said like live snakes. And I really thought it was like a portion like that was going to be just like a small, like quick, like haunt walkthrough. But no, it was actually a little area where there were live snakes in the different tanks and stuff like that you put in. I was like, oh, okay. Like my son avoided that. Like he was like, nope, I'm out. And he, I was like, no, you go into the section that's a haunted. They're saying it's live snakes, but is it really live snakes? Turns out it is live snakes. They're definitely an older school if you're looking for things that have like kind of like a larger scale animatronics. This ain't that. They do have legacy characters. Things like obviously it was Friday the 13th, and there's a Jason character, there's a Freddy Krueger character. I think there's a Michael Myers one as well. So they're definitely playing into that legacy characters for sure. But man, I like I said, I like the haunt. It's definitely one that if you're into the isolated darkness of a respective haunt, you'll have a great time here because there are definitely some portions that get really, really, really dark. And I don't mean dark in like a dark, morbid dark as in pitch black dark. But the hayride was cool. Like I said, I like the thing where the thing came up and hit us. And the main walkthrough portion was cool. I think the total of it's about like 25 minutes, something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood all told, because you get a hayride back as well. It was a fun experience. I had a good time there. Thanks so much to Jen and the team for having us out. It was definitely one that I would like to check out again. I'd be very curious to see what changes they put through every year, and if it's something that they, add on, change some things around based on season to season. I would be curious to see kind of what they did with it. But as far as like, having some food options, having some music, sit together, sit, have a good time, shoot, whatever, really nice environment. That's the cool thing about haunted houses is that, obviously when you've been to a ton of haunted houses, as I have, there's things that you see all the time. There's usual tropes that you kind of see. And the one thing I can say about Cheeseman's is while decidedly old school, it's definitely its own thing. Cheeseman's has its own thing, like other haunted houses have their own thing. I do feel that they did a pretty good job here as far as effectively using like the farm environment. But that's my thoughts on Cheeseman's Fright Farm. Have you ever visited Cheeseman's? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I do routinely see Cheeseman's get recommended and rated. So it was cool to have finally experienced it. And thanks so much to Jen and the team again for having me out. But that'll wrap it up. Cheeseman's Fright Farm. Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you are new here, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Like support me on Patreon like John Bailey did. You can do so. Link is in the description below. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, including the TomWasHere Halloween Haunts t-shirt, you can do so at Spreadshirt, as well as links to my eBay store, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and the Pennsylvania Autograph Collectors Association. Links are in the description below. And until the next video, I will see you soon. And thanks for visiting the TomWasHere Halloween Haunts channel. Bye, everyone.